Welcome to week 3 in our class. You've made it through weeks 1 and 2. Congratulations on that. Now we have in week 3, you have your final draft for your professional portfolio. So far you've written the introduction, the executive summary, the artifact section, and now you have your last section, which is the reflection section. And again, I'll give you feedback early in the week of week 3, and any changes that you need to make on the portfolio up to that point, please make them by the time you turn in this rough draft at the end of week 3, so I can help you. My goal in doing any of these rough drafts is to help you through this process, because I want you to do well. So again, you've done your table of contents. Again, you should be updating your table of contents. If I think I might have forgot to say that in the last presentation, update your table of contents. Got your introduction. You have your first, your executive summary. You provided an artifact that proves that you're meeting the assigned standard or domain. You explain the artifact and why it meets the standard or domain. And now we have the reflection section. So we have 3 main areas that you're going to reflect on for this rough draft. That's growth, your plan for growth, and your strengths. Okay, so what you want to think about is, I have the strength and conditioning coaches template open. Let's say that you've been a strength and conditioning coach for a while now. Let's say you've been doing this strength and conditioning stuff for 7-8 years. So what I want you to do is describe to me, since you started as a strength and conditioning coach, how have you improved in making sure that your clients are healthy before you start an exercise program. Maybe you didn't when you first started out. You just started working. You weren't even doing it professionally yet. You're a student athlete and helping people out. Your friends would come to you, hey man, can you help me get strong and swole? And you just worked out with them at the gym. But now that you are a true professional, maybe you are a CSCS certified, you're employed as a strength and conditioning coach, and now you understand why it's important to make sure that the clients are healthy before you start doing any kind of training regimen. So explain that to me. Explain how you have grown in the assigned standard since you were a student or since you started coaching or as a PE teacher. How you improved at teaching standard 1. If you're a PE teacher, maybe you never developed a coaching philosophy before. Why? Or how has your coaching philosophy changed over the years? We all have a philosophy of what we do. May not have formalized it and written it down like you were required to do for this class, but how's your coaching philosophy changed over the years? So this section should be 2 to 3 paragraphs on your growth since you were a student until now. So that's the first section. You notice I have section titles here, so keep your section titles. The next section is your plan for growth. Now I want you to discuss how you can continue to grow in the assigned standard or domain. Some of this can be a bit challenged. How do you grow in your philosophy? Your graduate students, so what are some conferences or other mentor coaches or those type of things? What are specific ways that you can grow and get better at the teaching standard 1, or getting better to make sure that your clients are healthy before they start an exercise program? What are some other areas within your own coaching philosophy that you like to get better at? So this section's 2 to 3 pages, or sorry, 2 to 3 paragraphs in length. And the final section for your rough draft is development of strengths. Now, I've provided information in our class about a strength, and I've provided it here in the template. What I mean by strength is what you do well, consistently you do well at, and that you actually like doing. You kind of get lost into it and doing it. That's a strength. I think in athletics we understand what his strengths are better than non people in athletics, especially coaches, because the coaches, good coaches, I think they utilize their athlete's strengths in such a way that that athlete performs well using their strengths. Somebody who used the basketball analogy, a person who is 7'1" and can play well on the blocks, you want to make sure that they develop that. Or if somebody is a good shooter, and that's their strength, you really focus on working on their strengths, and you manage around the things that they're not that good at. If they're not a good shooter, they're naturally not a good shooter. Why would you focus on trying to make them a better shooter? You can make them a competent shooter, but if they're better a low post player, but not a very good shooter outside 8 to 10 feet or in the three-point line, why would you even waste the time and energy and practice on trying to get them better at that area? Whereas developing on the areas that that athlete is already good at. And that's what the strengths movement, strengths philosophy is about. And that's what I'm trying to get you to focus on is, as you think about standard one as a PE teacher or as a strength conditioning coach or domain one as a coach, in the standard or domain, what are you naturally good at? Explain that to me in such a way that I understand it, and then how can you continue to develop in those areas that you're already good at? I don't want you to focus on the things that you're weak at. Focus on the things that are strengths and you're good at. Now I have a paragraph here. Some of students have taken the Clifton Strengths Finder evaluation, which will actually measure your talents. They give you your top 5 talent strength themes, which are your talents. Okay, if you've taken that, good. If you want to take it, you can. I've provided a link for that in the class. I think it's $15. It takes about half an hour or so to do the assessment. You'll get a series of 2 words or statements, and you have to choose which one describes you best. You only have 20 seconds to make the choice, and then at the end of it, you get a report that gives you your top 5 strength themes. Those are your talents. That's not your strength. That's the talent, because the strength, according to the Gallup organization that does the Clifton Strengths Finder and the research done by Dr. Clifton, a strength are comprised of your God-given talents, which is what you'll get from the Clifton Strength Finders, your experience, your skills, and all the knowledge that you have. And then what is strengths is something, a task, an activity that you do well, consistently well, that you get energy from. So with that in mind, what you will need to discuss, and this can be true if you've not taken the Clifton Strengths Finder, is what experience, skill, or knowledge do you need to obtain in order to improve your areas of strength. And this section should be 2 to 3 paragraphs. Now I'm going to go back over to our completed portfolio. Our athletic trainer has done a really good job with this. Here's his growth since he was an athletic training student. And these are the 2 areas, patient responsibility and direction. So he explains how he's grown in each one of those. Then he describes his plan for growth in both areas. Since you only have one area, you don't have to worry about having 2 areas. Then his development for strength, and he describes what are his area of strengths for each of those areas and the ways that he can go about in improving in those areas of strength. Okay. For the rough draft, you do not have to turn in your courage and calling reflection. This will be included in your final portfolio due in week 4. If you've already read it, the assigned chapters, chapters, I think. And you have written your reflection, you can include it. I'll give you feedback on it, but you don't have to for the rough draft. The only thing required for your rough draft are these first 3 sections. So in this rough draft, due at the end of week 3, you should have your title page, updated table of contents, your introduction, your executive summary, your artifact section, the reflection section, your reference page, and your appendices or appendix with your artifact. Again, in the one thing I didn't say here in the reflection, if you need to continue to cite the standards and any other resources that you are using to support your information. As always, if you have questions, post your questions in the Q&A form or the question and answer form, and I'll answer them quickly.